Jennifer, how did your passionate conviction towards education develop?
Well, it probably developed because I love to study, I love to read, I love to learn, but I do not like school. It has never been a pleasant experience for me. It actually somewhat killed my love of learning. And so I think that that helps me to help others because I have that experience. I can connect to those who feel the same way. And really, what it comes down to is everyone's not meant to learn the same way. Everyone doesn't need to be on the same program. However, traditional schools are okay for some students, but there are other students that would do better if they're homeschooled or part of a co op or attend some other type of student driven alternative school. And so there's a lot of innovation happening outside of the traditional classroom. Students are learning how to be self motivated and directing their own education. And a lot of people don't know this. And so part of my work is to share that options do exist.
It sounded like you had a very eye-opening experience as far as your own educational journey. How did you maintain your enthusiasm for learning, knowing how much the traditional methods had such a strong hold on how we learn and educate our young people? How did you maintain your love, your passion, your joy, despite so many obstacles standing in your way?
I would say books. So when I was young, I had a lot of books. My parents bought me a lot of books. One of my favorite places to go was the library. And so with that, I learned that I didn't really need school in order to learn because I knew how to read. Therefore, I could teach myself. And so I could still have my passion while I was still in a traditional school.
How do you maintain your competitive edge as far as the quality of your service offerings to your clients?
Well, I believe in collaboration over competition, and really, I work on resonance. So, people who resonate with me decide to work with me, and with that, there's really no need to compete. And so, when I hear that, I'm thinking, well, what exactly am I competing over? Because the world is so vast, and we all just have to find our fit. I can only be Jennifer. And so, with Jennifer, there's really no thoughts of competition.
How do you ensure that the vibration or the resonance of the people who are approaching you are in line with where you are today and where you would like to go tomorrow?
I think that's just how energy works. So when people read my materials or they see what I put out there, they either say, yes, that works for me, or maybe not. So that's just how it works. The best thing for me to do is to just be myself, continue to be myself, and just explain myself as clearly as possible. So either it resonates or it does not.
How do you balance your progressive approach and views towards education versus mainstream methods of teaching?
Well, that's a good question because balance is very important. Some people might think I'm a little bit extreme, but I am balanced. And my balance comes with my respect for individuality. And so we all have to go where our heart leads us. There are some people who are best served by the mainstream approach, and that's fine. But there are those that are not served by that approach, and they also deserve to reach their highest expression. And so with me, it's about options. People need to know what their options are. I'm not one to say that this is the only option. You should do this, you should do that. I'm one to say, well, there's like a whole platter here. Let's look at the whole platter and see what's available to best fit your needs. And so that's what helps me to serve my students. And, because I realize that some people, they do want a certain style of teaching. And I always make it very clear that if you are looking for that authoritarian approach, very strict approach, we're just not going to resonate at all. And so that's fine. You really have to find someone that fits what you're looking for.
How do you make sure that your platter of offerings has all the bounty that's available? Because the universe is constantly coming up with new things, new approaches, new ways. So how do you keep yourself abreast of what you are offering and what you could potentially offer tomorrow to your clients or students?
that goes back to my childhood passion for reading. So I like to read. I read everything I can get my hands on. I read, I keep myself up to date. I read stuff that I don't even agree with just so I can be familiar with it, just so I'm not just looking at things from one perspective. And so I am an avid reader.
Jennifer, how do you ensure a personalized educational experience for your clients?
Get to know people. And so I want to know about interests, likes, dislikes, struggles, successes. I also want feedback on the lessons I design. So I ask, was this helpful? Was this interesting? Was it boring? How did you feel about this activity? Because that really helps to give me valuable insight. And so with me, it's about focusing on the human as an individual being. It's not about focusing on how you can get that human to fall in line with whatever's being served by the educational industrial complex.
How do your students fare compared to those who go the traditional method as far as education?
Well, I just want to make this clear that I do have students that are very traditional and that they need the traditional approach. And so I'm able to adjust to that. And so because my service is so personalized, I'm able to adjust to that. If you need a more traditional approach, I have students that need to pass exams. So that's why they're hiring me. So if you need to pass an exam, that's what we're going to focus on, strategies. How do you pass this exam? How do you look at these questions? What's the best way to answer these questions? So I am flexible in my approach. I would say my results come in the consistency of my clients, meaning that they return. I have long-term clients that return again and again because my approach helps their students. It helps them get through school. So if they're in a traditional school, I can help them get through that. If they're homeschooled, sometimes homeschool parents, they don't really want to teach language arts. They just need some help with that. And so that's what they would hire me for.
What does it mean to be a client of Jennifer Nelson?
Well, I don't see myself as a teacher who's here to bestow knowledge upon my students. I see myself as a facilitator of learning experiences. And so with that, I help my students to bring out what's already within. So if a student reads a text, they answer a comprehension question, and it's not the right answer, I don't start by telling them that they're wrong. I want to know, why did you select that answer? Sometimes they have a really good reason for it. Actually, most of the time, they have a really good reason for why they chose that answer. But then I present the other view. Okay, well, this is what they're looking for, and this is why. And so I'm not here to tell anyone how to think, but I'm just here to harmonize the experience in order to get the best results. I believe that students can succeed academically without having their confidence taken away. And what's even more important than academics is having a sense of self, a sense of purpose, and an understanding of one's inner value. And I do include that in most of my lessons. And so that's what I provide as a language arts instructor and curriculum developer.